Welcome back. You're watching Weekend Live on SABC2. Now, South Africa's most popular city, the city of Johannesburg, has introduced yet another landmark that is bound to leave an impression on its citizens and its visitors. The Soweto Theatre, based in Jabulani, is finally complete after years of anticipation from both citizens of Soweto and the arts community at large. Now, here to tell us about the way forward for the theatre and what can be expected from the artistic venue and landmark once it's up and running is Director of Joburg Arts, Stephen Sack. Good morning, welcome to Weekend Live.
Morning, sir.
What is the way forward? I mean, the structure's up and running. We're a couple of months away from it being handed over officially, but where are we now?
Okay, so the building is 95% finished. In fact, today, they're putting up the tent structure in front of the theatre. It will be handed over to us, we hope, in March, mid-March, and then we'll start to bring in all the lighting equipment, sound equipment, and get the theatre up and running for the big launch in May 2012.
Of course, it's about theatre development, it's about developing the arts, but what kind of work will be showcased at the theatre once it's up and running?
Well, the great thing about the theatre is that it has 4 venues. Because it was built on the Jabulani Amphitheatre site, we have the amphitheatre, which we will refurbish next year. The theatre itself has, the main theatre is a 450-seater with an orchestra pit. And then we've got a 90-seater flat floor box and about a 160-seater. So the spaces are very flexible. So you can put on straight theatre, you can do dance, you can do music. It's designed as a dramatic venue for theatre, but it really is a very, very flexible space.
Now, talk to us that the theatre would be completed in 2010. Now, what was the initial reason for the delay?
Okay, well, what happened was this was a project of the previous mayor, Amos Masondo, and his council, and it was identified as a legacy project for the World Cup. But the Johannesburg Property Company came up with a very innovative approach for how to actually build the theatre. So what they did is they put land up for open tender in the Jabulani area. And the agreement was that the company that won the rights to develop the whole land parcel would first build a theatre for the city so that the lead development in the whole project would be a theatre. And this would help to leverage investment. And so what we're going to see now, once the theatre is finished, you're going to see new retail developments coming into the area, housing developments. So the theatre is intended as a catalytic development project for this new city development in Soweto.
But we can't move away from the fact that this project is very innovative in many ways because it really talks about government's commitment to the arts. It's the first theatre built since 1994, since the new government.
Absolutely, and for all of us in the city, everybody who's been involved with the project, and the architects, Afritech, who designed the theatre. It's the first theatre that they've designed. And, you know, we've had to make sure that we consulted very thoroughly with the community and with all the experts. Before we even started with the theatre, we went on a mission to look at all the theatres in Johannesburg. We went to the UK and Canada with both the political head of the department to see what was the right model for the theatre that we wanted to build. And all of that is what led to the delay in it not being completed in 2010. You know, so, but here it is. It's going to be ready and it's going to open in 2012.
I mean, in terms of arts development, that in itself is very important, but it's also more important that this Soweto Theatre benefits not only the residents of Soweto, but the aligning areas as well. How do we make sure that people in Soweto, in the aligning areas, actually benefit directly from the theatre?
Well, already they've benefited. So all the trades, all the bricklayers and the local builders have been sourced from the immediate community. So the people living in and around Jabulani and in Greater Soweto have benefited to an enormous extent. And now we've just put out a call for expressions of interest. It went into the newspaper this last weekend, and we're busy sending this call out to communities and artists and producers, asking people to propose ideas, ways in which they would like to be involved in the theatre. And we already have 300 kids in a music training program, many of them from Soweto, which is a project that was set up by the Roodepoort Theatre. So we're going to be involved in training young people, in working with all the young professionals and the emerging groups, and it's going to be an opportunity to showcase talent from Soweto, but talent from the greater Johannesburg, and then nationally and internationally, we would hope.
Why is it so important that the Soweto Theatre is right here, right now? Why is it so important that we develop the arts right now?
Well, the thing is that one of the big projects of the city is what is called social cohesion. This idea of how do you get communities to bond? How do you get people, diverse people, to all have a sense of identification with the city? And there's no better way to do that than with the theatre. If you look at what the Market Theatre has achieved, if you look at what the Joburg Theatre has achieved, in terms of bringing diverse groups of people to one place to enjoy South African production, South African culture. This is a very important part of nation building. And there are obviously also important job creation opportunities through a project like this.
Now, we've seen the numbers increase in terms of, sold-out shows at the Market Theatre, well, all over South Africa. How do we make sure that pricing stays relevant? Because you don't want to bring a production to Soweto but charge 200 Rand a ticket when you know the immediate community can't pay that kind of prices.
Look, the great thing about the Soweto Theatre is it has 4 venues. It has the old amphitheatre, which we will upgrade next year. It has a main proscenium arch auditorium that seats about 450. And it has a 90-seater and 160-seater venue. So each of these venues can be producing different kind of content with different kind of pricing structures linked to those venues. I think it's a fact, and everybody knows, that you cannot run theatres without some form of subsidy.
For sure.
So the city will continue to contribute towards the operational costs, and that will help us keep the prices at an affordable rate.
Stephen, we're going to leave it there, but thank you very much for talking to us. And of course, speaking to us about Soweto's newest arts landmark, the Soweto Theatre, is the director of Joburg Arts, Stephen Sack. The performing arts venue is set to open on May the 25th, roundabout, which is the day recognized as Africa Day. A lot of art enthusiasts should be looking forward to it. If you are one of them, do send us an email to weekendlive@sabc.co.za and share and tell us your experience.